BYDFi is a crypto exchange on desktop and mobile where you can spot trade, futures trade, use leverage tokens, and copy the trades of top traders. If you sign up with the link in the description, you get a free $100 when you deposit $100. There's hundreds of crypto available on their spot exchange, as well as a free test account so you can practice futures trading without getting wrecked. BYDFi.
Hello everybody, welcome back. Let's have a look at some of these charts and shall we do have the Patreon live stream for those of you who want to sign up. Links in the description below. Other than that, let's get started. So before we, I suppose, look at Bitcoin, I'm just going to quickly go to traditional markets, a bit of the old boring stuff. We'll start with Forex. We've got the Euro pulling back significantly over the last couple of days now, which is fine. It's fair enough. It is what it is. No big deal. It's still due for a bounce around about 108 or maybe even a little higher, maybe even now where we are at today. Stocks also pulling back a little bit. Still, this is just S&P Futures, so it's nothing set in stone. It still looks good though. It's definitely a good looking chart. No bearish divergence on the higher term time frames. Checking that on the 4-hourly. No, nothing really. Just plain old consolidation, and we'll be looking probably to get picked up one more time around. Really, just not too different from where we are right now. 4-hourly Bollinger Band Center, losing that though, a dip a little further and maybe even a little further than that. Personally though, as you all know, like when it comes to stocks, I took a lot of profit, mostly surrounding this this chart here. Took a fair bit of profit on other stocks as well, because I believe in this rotation event which is due to occur, which also includes a bounce on the dollar. So again, this is 4-hourly, makes it look a bit more significant than it really is. Could easily just be a death cross retest for the moment, but I'm looking for a bounce on the dollar at some point. Probably not here. I was looking for a little lower, but if it happens here, so what? That's fine. It would be nicely timed for my exits. But and then another rejection from a higher zone where we actually start to see gold run from. So again, looking at gold here on the daily, I'd prefer a little lower, and maybe even a little lower than that over the next week or two as this rotation sort of begins, really. At the moment, I wouldn't say it's begun. A true rotation goes into cash, so maybe we've gone into cash already. I certainly did. Not talking for crypto here, I'm talking for stocks, for the larger, more significant rotation in broader markets there. And then a rejection from the Dixie, which then goes into precious metals, which is where I think it's going to go. It could also go back into stocks, let's face it, because stocks are on a tear up and the charts still look good. But I think they're due for a consolidation anyway, though. And so that is the overall basic analysis that I've got for what's going to be, in my opinion, the more important swing trade in broader markets. Sorry, there's a 3-year-old behind me with a tablet, so if you can hear all that noise, just persevere, will you? All right. So that is basically the deal. And because the correlation of gold and Bitcoin is still quite high on a technical basis, you know, run from the bottom to the top down to a golden cross retest onto a new local high and then consolidate. It's basically what we saw for Bitcoin. Take ourselves out of this 4-hourly chart. It's exactly the same, although the simple moving averages rather than the exponential. So there you go, all the way up, golden cross retest, all the way up to a new local high, consolidate, and now we're breaking out. So it's good to see crypto breaking out first because it's a more powerful, more volatile, more profitable breakout. And if the rotation goes into precious metals like gold, then the correlation should hopefully continue, and this would be enough, in my opinion, to give us a new local high, 38, maybe 40, maybe even higher than that. We'll see if the rotation really does kick into fashion when it comes to consolidating from those stocks and indices into gold, which should push the whole thing up, really. Right. Okay, so that's that. It's no different to what I've been saying this entire time. So let's admire Bitcoin for what it is. It's still looking pretty epic, in all fairness. No pump signal on this chart yet. So we've got Chiku span above price action, as is the price action. We're waiting for a portion of the cloud to flick green. We're also looking for this conversion baseline to cross, which is currently parallel with each other. That's fine. If that's what it wants to do, that's fine. Let's look on the shorter term time frames for anything concerning. I wouldn't say this is of concern because it's only a 4-hourly, but we hit the magical 95 on the money flow index, which is always a get out of town scenario. That basically hit that wick and we're basically consolidating. And I don't really see this as a big problem at all. Not at all. So you might see a pullback down to your 4-hourly Bollinger Band, 29. Probably I'll be thinking more along the lines of a deeper retest towards the lower 28. So 28,400. That would be fine. Even lower than that, so long as we can remain above 27,000, which is this basically sideways horizontal, and your golden crosses, we've got simple and exponentials, showing that on the 4 hourly, the strength of trend is still up. Each one of these moving averages is an appropriate support, and preferably you'd be looking for a deeper retest of the higher term moving averages, being 200s would be great for a decent bounce. It does. My preference is definitely bounce. Really, to be honest, it definitely is bounce. Just want to get that pump signal generated on the daily, and you'll be looking good for that. 3-day 200 simple moving average is where we are right now. You clear that, and we're above every single one of them. So we got a fresh moving MACD cross as well above the 0 point, which is looking pretty tasty. So everything does look good for continuation over the higher term timeframes. If we can just clear that zone as well, it'd be very good. And again, looking back at this on your weekly, on the weekly, it looks really good. So, Captain Hindsight can kick in and can say, well, hang on a minute, we closed above a 21 exponential 1, 2, 3 times in a row. Perfect retest on this week's candle body. And boom, all the way up to the breakout. Again, it's the breakout of a descending channel, which is a consolidation. Way better to see a descending channel than a triangle. The triangle is a bearish formation, and the channel is a bullish formation. So you're going to get way more. It's way more likely to see a breakout like we have now, based around this formation, than there would have been for a triangle. So excellent. All looking very good. All looking pretty sweet. Long story short, we don't need to beat around the bush here. We're just going to watch and wait and see how much this can run in the short term, or is it going to pull back into the $28,000 zone first. Recognize here though on the daily that no moving averages have yet crept above that 28,400. That's what we really want to see, just to add extra weight into that support for if and when we pull back into it. And we may not. We might shoot up to a new local high. You break that local high area, that $32,000 zone, you'll be seeing the mid to high $30,000 without too much problem. To be honest, you really would. Dominance chart looking pretty wrecked still as well, as in wrecked for anyone holding vast amounts of alts. There's not a big problem for those of you who want to hold alts for a long period of time, provided you've not bought an absolute pile of crap. But when we see a dominance breakout like this, which is very strong, we've broken outside of this major horizontal, which is a channel that we've been in basically since the majority of the back end of the last bull market, since May. So it's been a long time that we've been sitting below here. We've broken out. If we're going to get any kind of rejection on any time frame, it's going to be between now, which is like basically now 51.5, to maybe like 52.5. So we've only got like 1% more to go before we might see a rejection. The rejection could already be underway at the moment. Doesn't look good though, I suppose, at the moment. But these rotations can take a little bit of time, especially when you're monitoring them on a weekly time frame. Even so, like I'm still 30% into alts from the Bitcoin I bought at 21,500. I'm not really prepared to rotate any Bitcoin into altcoins. Not at this point now. No, there's no point. Still got plenty of Tether as well. I picked up a fair bit of altcoins over the last couple of weeks, maybe the last 3 weeks or so. Incremental dollar cost averaging into it for long-term positions. But if we do start to get rejection from here, and it does, and it looks like it's going to have a bit of momentum, then we might be able to take part in what's known as an alt season. But it's not going to be incredibly aggressive, not from this level. From a higher level, probably it will. So maybe 52 to 53, we might start to see some kind of movement. Outside of that, we're talking upper 50% towards 60% really. So there's no reason to get I suppose overexcited when it comes to alts. Bitcoin's driving the market. Altcoins are moving through association. Unless there's a clean and crisp and clear setup on an altcoin chart, it's probably just not worth taking notice of. And anything that does do, for the most part, is just going to be on the back of what Bitcoin's doing. And Bitcoin, like I say, can easily pull back. It'll emphasize any downside move for altcoins. It's not alt season time, not quite yet. Although you could look at those areas on the weekly dominance chart as a potential zone. But for me, it's not a matter of rotating from a Bitcoin position into those anymore. If anything, it's a matter of scouting out a trade on a tether pair and trading it, with USDT or dollars, pounds, or any other stable coin. Right, thanks for watching. Allow the rip, continue to get rich, enjoy the gains, sit back and relax, and just let this chart do its thing. It is a technical breakout, and it should be lifted up over the next few weeks by this rotation from stocks to gold. Thanks for watching. Take it easy.